Okay. Got this. Hey, wonderful people. This is Andrea, but you can call me Andi for short. Everybody does. And I am the host of Talk to Me, the art of listening in New York City, a podcast focused on active listening no matter the person or topic. And our first guest is Nnamdi Oghedo. He is someone that I connected with through LinkedIn when I was looking to build my copywriter community. I was just looking for storytellers in the marketing world, and I winded up finding a storyteller of life. A first-generation son with many internal battles and a large creative voice. He is not afraid to show us how these things have helped him grow personally and professionally. And the first thing that we talk about in his creative world is a short story called A Bundle of Joy. It's about a young mother who lost a child and stumbles her way into an infertility counseling clinic that focuses on VR use. A very abstract story, yet so hard-hitting when you read it. Only a page and a half. It definitely makes you feel some type of way. And when I brought the story up, Nnamdi also dived deeper and really gave me a wonderful and open view of how this story came about, why it's important to him, and just sets the tone for a wonderful conversation. I asked Nnamdi to talk to me, and he did. So I'm ready to listen. Are you? Well, first of all, because I never asked you when we first met, and it was a joke you made on your portfolio. Do I say your name correctly?
Say it.
Nnamdi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you have... It's my biggest fear to say people's names wrong, because I've always found it crazy that we can learn to pronounce Spaniard names, European names, but then African names.
My experience is a lack of experience and the fear of being tripped up. So like, people could pronounce Spanish names because whether you like it or not, you are more, society is like, Spanish is more entwined in society.
Right.
But like, Americans know fuck all about Africa. Like, to the point where I would say until 5 years ago, I would say majority of people thought Africa was a country, not a continent. Like, I would say like 54%. Like, if you push them, because like, for instance, like if you asked me to point Detroit on a map, I'm an American and I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, there's certain like lacks of knowledge that we all realize we don't have.
Right.
And I think most people, like, if you did one of those things where you put a mic in front of them on the street and you ask them like, is Africa a country? Most people are like, yeah. And I just think, and that's no shade. It's just the fact that like, there isn't any cultural crossover with African society, African culture.
Right.
And not to say I'm an ambassador of Nigerian culture. Like, if you ask my mom, I'm the least Nigerian in my family. Like, it's really bad. But because of that, there is no tools to figure out, to navigate the anxiety when you're faced with something really African, because it's really alien to you.
Right.
So like, the two N's in my name is just like, fuck, I've never seen that before. I don't even know where to start. And he's black. I don't want to be racist. So how do I do this? And all that thought is happening when I just said, hi, Chris. And now they're freaking out. And like, I get it. I understand that. Anyway, let's get started.
And that's how you introduce a podcast. Okay, let me break this open. Was there anything on here you didn't want me to touch on or hit on? Because I also feel like I just wrote things very general and I know what they mean. But if you have questions for me beforehand.
No, I don't have questions. Short answer is no. It's just going to be like raw. So it's okay.
Okay.
There's only like one topic that's like, ooh, I didn't expect that, but like, I'm okay with it.
Ooh, oh my God. Which one?
Bundle of Joy.
I love that story.
Thank you.
I loved it. And when I read that very last part, I'm like, fuck, my God. And then I remember in your LinkedIn description, you said how you love irony. I'm like, I mean, that was pretty ironic.
Yeah.
That was very heavy, dramatic irony.
It's funny. Thank you for liking that. there was a moment where I pushed that story in the back of my mind for a long time because I put that in for an award, not an award, wow, a contest. And in midst of the contest, you get feedback. And I got some positive feedback, but the most negative feedback I got was someone completely misinterpreting the story, and they thought that I was demonizing drug addicts and demonizing miscarriages and demonizing infertility, which is why I'm saying that was is a raw topic because
Right.
we'll get into it when we get into it, but like it was just like, oh fuck, I didn't like that wasn't the intention, and the fact that it got interpreted that way like
Right.
scared the shit out of me.
Well, let's get into it because editing process, so I can always
Sure.
put this where it needs to go. But I almost feel like that was in some ways projection, maybe.
It took me a while to realize that, but okay. So the reason why, to answer two questions,
Right.
one that you're about to ask, I guess, like where it came from, and this is the one I was talking about. Like this is like the rawest thing is that my wife and I tried several times to have a child. We miscarried the first one, then we had several rounds of IVF, and it was really hard because I was still wrestling with the idea of being a father. It was just more of like, this is expected of me. And my wife is older than me. So like the argument of a woman over 40 not having it, like you have to start now. And like that perspective was stronger than my perspective of, I don't know if I want to be a father, which I was just like, being a parent was just like going to college. It's what you did. And I knew for a fact that even if I was wavering on being a father, once I saw my child, I would 100% be a father. I am digressing from the main point. The main point was that going through all of that, me and my wife entered this new realm of infertility that is very not talked about.
Right.
Infertility, especially for women, is a big shameful thing. And like one that is brought onto you by society, but also one that like bubbles up within you as a woman because you feel like because society tells you that your one main, society tells you it's not true, but society tells you that one of your main assets is to produce a child. And if you can't do that, then what is your worth? And that's like a negative, intrusive thought that's like gets into your mind. I'm not speaking for all women, but that's the dominant kind of like struggle you're dealing with infertility. And so because of that, that breeds up shame. And so you have this like sea of isolated women not talking about this issue. And once you go through it, you start seeing it in other people's eyes. You start seeing it how other people talk about it. But you realize that no one's talking about it. So there's become this like this cancerous burden that we're all holding and not like discussing. And me and my wife were going through that and seeing it. We start seeing it in like it was one of those things where you learn a new word and suddenly you start hearing that word everywhere. You start seeing it in TV shows, start seeing it in people. So I wouldn't say Bundle of Joy was me working through that, but it was me entering that like territory of just like the trauma of infertility and being ostracized by society, where it's like at the time, I don't want to like dox my wife, but like at the time my wife was working for a company that dealt with baby stuff, and like the CEO every day would be like, okay, it's now everyone, it's time to have babies. And like that's
Right.
it's a very like normalized thing to say.
Right.
But in this like underground society of people dealing with infertility, it's the most hurtful thing to say. So I really wanted to play with the themes of just like being an outsider and being like feeling like you're disgusting. That being said, when I got that feedback that what the person saw hurt them, I was like, the last thing I wanted to do was hurt somebody with this, and it really like fucked me up that I hurt them.
Right.
Even though you're right, it took me a while to realize it was projection. It's still like I still elicited that hurt
Right.
to the most sensitive people that I feel like are going through something that no one's there to help. I just felt like shit.
Right. But I feel like at the same time, it's what is life without like those down feelings and then those up feelings? Because at that point, you're just living a very mellow in between life, and you don't get to experience how would you say, the evolution of yourself from the highs and lows.
That's true, but I think for me, I had to understand that like the main character in that was a woman.
Right.
I'm not a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So there is always an aspect of a topic that I will never know or understand. And as a creator, you step into that realm hoping that you're not going to hit a minefield, fearing that you will hit a minefield. So when I got that, I was like, fuck, I hit a minefield that I never, like, even though it took me a while to realize, like, everyone has different, but like at the time I was like, well, that's what I get. like it's like, I'm a man talking about assault and I've never been assaulted. Like I can't, like, I don't want to, I'm not saying that was about assault. I'm just saying like, and like, I'm a big black man and telling like, I'm dreading off, but like for instance, it's difficult as a man to talk about like how hard it is for a woman to walk home at night. Like I'm a big black man, well, people are not gonna fuck with me. But like I can't tell a woman just walk straight. So like I have to be aware of my blind spots, and I thought that was a blind spot.
So when you were going through this blind spot experience with your wife, and you were speaking about, and I'm paraphrasing, so please correct me if I'm missaying what you said. You were talking about how it opens your eyes, and now it's kind of like you see these things everywhere. You see certain words everywhere. You start to understand almost in a way what people aren't saying because there isn't a space to talk about it.
Yeah.
What were the words or how did those words kind of change the way you were telling stories in terms of including female perspective or understanding things from the female perspective? How did that kind of start to remix your view as a storyteller?
I wouldn't say it specifically changed my approach on the female perspective, but on the human perspective of just there's always something, a deeper understanding of the fact that there's always something that everyone's going through.
Right.
And that we're just moving through life and making the best of it, but there's always something we're going through. I mean, yeah, I would say that because like for me, a personal lesson that I went through that was that I still am, but at the time, I was a much more optimistic person.
Right.
I very much like lazily believe in the aspect of Taoism where it's just like there's certain things you just don't do anything and then things will fall into place. And when we're going through that, I was constantly just being like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna come through this because like for every bad thing that happened to me, a lot of good things happened to me, and a lot of that good things happened because I believed, it's like the worst can't always happen. And then it did, and then it did again, and it did again.
Right.
And I guess it made me more healthily jaded.
Healthily jaded.
Yeah, like I was very optimistically naive I did that on purpose to be able to like walk through despair more often.
Right.
But there are certain times where you have to acknowledge like this could go tits up, and I have to be prepared for that. And I still never forgive myself for like looking my wife in the face and being like this is not gonna go bad, and it did. And like I will never forgive like you can't predict that, but like I still will never forgive myself for that. Just like injecting that optimism and it like not falling. Like so, like I'm just in storytelling, in life in general. I think it's made me more able to be like bad things do happen, and you will still survive. So, which is like for storytelling is important because like my biggest like fault when I'm playing chess is that I'm afraid to sacrifice things constantly. And in order to move forward, you need to make sacrifices. And I think that I didn't learn that lesson until then. That like bad things will happen, and because when you're writing a story, you're in control of everything.
Right.
And so sometimes a story is bad because you haven't allowed bad things to happen, and you need devastating things to happen for the characters to acknowledge how to overcome them.
Right. And what do you feel are, because I feel like in storytelling, it's like it's the same thing as in life. We get into a comfortable groove. We get into this box that we sometimes don't even realize we put ourselves in, and we tend to do things in a routine. When do you start to break free of that routine and learn that maybe certain things that you were sacrificing before aren't really sacrifices? It's just you being comfortable, and now it's time to move forward.
That's a really good question. Personally, And you know, this is something that I'm still struggling with, and seeing if I'm just being lazy and not being proactive enough. But a lot of times it's honestly feels like I'm not fucking with something, like something that I'm doing every day, and it's not bringing me the same joy.
Right.
I'm like, why isn't this satisfying? And let me make a very very tangible example. Is that if not, if I'm not careful and I have nothing to do, and like my wife isn't home or like she's out of town, I can play video games all day. And there are times, like let's say my wife goes back to England to go like visit her family or something. So like I'm home all week. I'll play video games all day for like 2 days, and the third day I'm like, why am I bored? That's why I really like the concept of like making systems. I was just like, okay, I will do like I if left alone, I'll do this thing 3 days straight. So from now on, I'll only do it half a day and a half, knowing that I'm gonna get annoyed. So I'm gonna like so sometimes I need to hit a roadblock in order to understand how to fix the problem.
Right. Or like, and the roadblock being like you said, why the fuck isn't this working
Yeah,
anymore?
and I'm very like in tune with like my body. Like I don't like forcing myself through something. So if something is becoming more difficult, and not in a healthy way, I'm like, why is this becoming difficult? Maybe I need to change something in order to make this less difficult or less grating, rather.
And I wanted to, so this is a very left field question,
Shoot.
and this space is always meant for you to feel comfortable being uncomfortable.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I love that area.
So perfect. Because we were talking about your wife and how you were saying society kind of deems it for women, one of the biggest assets is reproducing.
Yeah.
But for many women, it's a choice that they don't want to partake in, and
Exactly.
others it's more difficult. But just about your wife, personally and professionally, nothing to do with babies. What other assets does she have?
She's overwhelming with assets. She is kind to a fault. Like it's so funny. She has a combination of like like intrinsic kindness, but she's also hampered by British society. I think if she was an American, like which I don't wish for her. I really don't wish for her.
British sarcasm is also better too.
Yeah, no, it is. British humor and irony and sarcasm is so much better than Americans because they are so successfully repressed in a way that they're proud of it. And like even now I'm realizing I'm saying that with some judgment because I'm an American, but like that is just their culture. Like the same way of saying like our culture of being Americans' cultures of being hyper individualist and opportunistic is one of our benefits, but it's also our major fucking flaw. And one of their major benefits is modesty and repression, but it's also a major flaw. And my wife, she's an extremely like kind and empathetic person. She has an innate eye for beauty. She knows like to the point where her outfit she wears will be walking down the street and somebody would literally cross the street in the middle of the road in traffic to be like, I love your dress. Like she has such a key eye of like pattern and color and symbolism. She's also so like, what's the best way to put it? She's really instinctual and yet doesn't believe in her instincts. And I find that paradox hilarious and beautiful and like astonishing to watch. Like she takes such intuitive leaps of faith, but she's one of the most indecisive people ever. So when she makes these like huge leaps, I'm always like, whoa, you saw something that none of us fucking saw. And the only reason I knew it was a beautiful leap is because yesterday you didn't know what to eat. And now you're going to do this like huge thing that like even I thought was too scary, and you're going to do it. Like she's just so in tune with herself, and yet suffers from what we all suffer from, like a fear of success. Not a fear. I don't say fear of success. More like a fear of tooting our own horn. I think is one of the only things that get in her way sometimes. Like
Well, I mean, that does go back to like the differences in society. She's humble to a fault.
Yeah.
She reminds me of people that I see on the street so often here, which is why I love being from here, is that everyone here knows themselves even if they don't know it. And because they know themselves, when you see that person, it's automatically like, I need to know who you are. Because I feel like if I know you, it'll help me better find myself.
I wanna tweak that a bit, because I wouldn't say everyone here knows themselves. I would say people here more often than not are less afraid of showing themselves, because no, like a lot of people here come here trying to find themselves, and they don't know exactly what about them is great, but they know there's something great, and they know that if I come here and if I survive here, I have to be comfortable being vulnerable. But like that's not control. That's you letting go of control,
Yes.
and then letting the environment shape you into the person you believe you can be.
Is she someone that lets go of control very well and then rides that wave well? Because the way you describe her, I feel like she does.
Yes
And it's
and
also
no.
like, as her husband, you are describing her so beautifully. Like, I'm having a picture painted in my head.
Well, I mean, like yes and no. Like she can be like the nicer, like a cushion around the cushioned version of like a control freak. Like she has like okay. There's a joke we have is that there's a palette. We have a palette. When I met her, that palette was just black, white, and gradations of gray. And now it is expanded to multiple colors, but there's still a palette. Where like for a long time, I wasn't allowed to bring anything into the house because they had to fit a palette. Like, and so she has. So you know what? Let me retract. It's not controlling. She just has very particular ideas in mind. And I think as we've been together, like there's a lot of things, there's so many things that like I've learned from her and grown because of her. And I think the few things that she's learned from me is that things outside the things, there are other things outside the things you've imagined, and you should leave a little door open to allow them to strengthen what you're already thinking about. Because she already has a really good, she always has like a good end goal in mind, and her beautiful struggle is finding out how to get there.
Beautiful struggle. I love that adjective next to that. Next to that verb.
Struggle shouldn't be bad.
No, but if you call it beautiful, then I might struggle a little bit more. It'll be fine.
No, I mean, because like I mean, like I mean, let me give more context to like what I mean is that she's during the pandemic, she got let go, and she had a long career in fashion, and like she went to school for fine art, and that, but she's like a designer in fashion, and it was like a job, a career. It's what we all, our careers like most of our life, and we just kind of move forward. And like she didn't love this job, but it was a lot of her life. And when they let her go, she felt betrayed and kind of like lost at sea for a bit. And then one day she woke up and she's like, I'm gonna do some watercolor painting. And I was like, okay. Like she'd never mentioned watercolor painting the entire time I'd known her. And then she like did a couple classes. And no. First she talked about watercolor painting, but then she started taking floral arrangement classes. And I was like, I don't see how these connect, but like, yo, do you? Like, this is a terrible time for all of us. Fast forward to now, and she's built this into this business, this side business, where she does commissions, she teaches, she's getting hit up all the time to do not collabs, but like I won't say collabs, or like painting classes. And then and now she's doing pottery, and I'm just like constantly watching her like expand this more creative side of her, an avenue of her. And I mean, it's just amazing to see like the ups and downs. Like every day I have to like approve her copy for captions and stuff like that, or I workshop ideas with her, and just like watching her grow this, and like watching the falls, but then watching how that fall turns into an opportunity. It's just it's beautiful. It's like watching something grow, and then just rooting for her all the time, and knowing that she can do it. So
I have to bring it up because now you spoke about floral arrangements.
yeah,
Super, super excited to meet you. And then as I was getting to the place where we were meeting up, you messaged me
yes,
in LinkedIn concerning floral arrangements for your wife.
yes,
Most probably for this exact commission and business she does.
yes.
is that you had flowers.
Yes.
You're like, listen, please don't freak out. I have flowers. It's the anniversary for my wife. And I read this message like, bro.
You don't understand. Like I contemplate for a full hour for a full half hour. Like, should I even send the message? Like, is the message even too much? What if she think what if she thinks I did get the flowers for her, but I chickened out, so I made up the story. So maybe I even shouldn't send the message. And I was like, or you should just be a normal fucking human being.
But I feel like this is the beauty. The best storytellers, they're not normal. I feel like normal is almost, that's not a compliment.
I mean,
if you call me normal, I'm slightly offended.
Well, I mean, normal is relative. Like you could be normal at a anime convention.
Well, the last anime convention I went to, I was definitely the normal one.
Exactly.
Because I wasn't cosplaying. So it's true.
Normal is relative as fuck. But I agree with you, because I mean, story means being a good storyteller means being able to identify conflict and understand how it shaped a situation. And a lot of people just kind of go with the flow.
Right.
And they have no idea about the forces around them that led them to the point they got to. So if you asked them how you got here, they'd be like, well, I was the dopest person ever. And it's like, you didn't see the plague around you that made you win by default. You didn't see any of that. So they're not a good storyteller.
It's like not realizing all of the factors that played into your ability to have a voice.
Exactly.
Well, I will definitely tell you through that experience, I realized you and I share a similar factor, which is overthinking.
Yes.
Because I think that was the first thing I said to you. I'm like, bro, you're definitely a storyteller because you overthought this, but I appreciate the message.
Yeah.
And they were beautiful flowers. So I hope that your wife...
My wife picked them out.
Yes. What is her first name?
Claire.
Claire. I hope that Claire made something gorgeous with them.
She did. That was a month ago, so I don't remember what she was doing. She was painting them for something. They were for our anniversary card. Yeah.
Oh, yes, you did tell me that.
Yeah, she was... Well, yeah, she was... It was a double thing, because, like, I paid for them, so they were, like... I also used them as a centerpiece, because I made, like, breakfast or dinner the next day. So I used it as a centerpiece for the dinner table.
Very nice.
So, like, I just... jerricked it.
Claire, when you see this, I just want you to know how serious he is about your flowers. He was ready to go toe-to-toe for those flowers. And they were very, very beautiful. Your eye is truly amazing. Because they made me think of so many different anime references and the most beautiful flowers from your anime shows.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I was talking about, like, her great intuitive leaps, is that I didn't understand the connection she was forging when she went into flower arrangement. Mm-hmm. And it now goes hand in hand with watercolor. Like, one of the things that she struggles the most with is she wants to paint all these things, but people only care about fucking flowers. And she's like, God damn it. Like, the only thing that sells are flowers. I want to paint frogs. I want to paint mushrooms. People just want fucking flowers. I'm like, I'm sorry, baby. Like, it's okay.
Hey, wonderful people, back again, just to let you know the next conversation going on. In this next segment, we talk about how Nnamdi takes up third spaces, which are areas outside of work and home, the places where we get to find ourselves, figure out ourselves, and really where we get to live life on a personal level. Keep listening. Something you said that you were and kind of always thinking about, and I don't want to say struggling, but you've always just always have in the back of your mind as you're taking up space, is how to do it in a way that doesn't bring out stereotypes.
Yeah.
Or villainize you.
I would say struggling. Well, I mean, like, but I don't think that struggling is a negative thing, so I'd say struggling.
That is true. So struggling, we're not going to use the negative connotation. Because, like, two of the things that I have in here, and you're speaking about third space, is in what ways do you take up space and how do you fill that space?
Very interesting, because I feel like I had, like, a mini epiphany, like, literally 3 days ago about this. So prior to that mini epiphany, I would say I struggled with, and I didn't realize I was dealing with this, but I struggled with, I think I inadvertently always wanted to be invisible.
Right.
Oh, okay. Actually, this is the best way to put it. I always wanted to be invisible but realizing that people kept looking at me, expecting things of me. But I honestly just wanted to be invisible until I felt like I had something worth discussing or engaging with. And that is all just a lot of words to say of lack of self-esteem.
Okay.
Just not believing I was worth anything until I had something worth anything to bring to the table. And I didn't want to be visible until I had something to bring to the table. And I never thought that me just existing was worth enough. And what fueled that and made that not lead me into depression was that I'm really comfortable being alone. So I was like, if I got nothing to give to anyone, I'm very happy just going back in my hole, and I will survive very well. I feel like I'm a cactus when it comes to like social interactions. I will like hang out with somebody for like a weekend, and I'll be like, I'm good for like 2 months, bro. Like, I'm good.
You've hit your social quota.
Exactly. And like the thing is, I am an extrovert leaning toward an ambivert, but I'm an extrovert. I'm really good in crowds, and I can hang out every weekend, but I like being alone more. So I used to not want to take up space because I was like, it's exhausting to always have to bring it. Like I felt like in order to take up space, I had to do something exceptional.
Right.
Because then I'm just wasting that space and I guess I'm realizing now because I'd see a ton of people taking up space with nothing to fucking say, and I was like, I never want to be those people. If I'm gonna stand on a soapbox, I have to have something to say. And then in a major retrospect and through the epiphany I had like a couple days ago, I realized that like everyone has something to say, regardless if you meant to say it. We all have unique perspectives, and if you're literally sitting down, I'm not suggesting you do this, but if you're sitting down to like, talking to yourself, you will probably say something that someone's like, "Hey, I agree with that," and they wanna grow from that. And I had a major problem of, and this is like, I have a fear of being conceited, and a healthy realization is that sometimes it's important for me to speak up so that other people can feel like they're seen. And it's important for other people, vice versa, for someone to say something like, there's so many gems. Everyone has a gem, but we're too afraid to share it.
Right.
And if you might meet someone who really you really resonate with them, but you would never know it if they never spoke up. And so my fear of being conceited stopped me from realizing that thought that like, yo, sometimes I should just say something. So the epiphany recently was that I need to stop like slouching my shoulder. I need to stop trying to hide. If I feel like I'm going to be loud, I should be loud. If I feel like I need to cut somebody off, I will cut somebody off. If I feel like I need to take control of the situation, I need to take control of the situation. I should trust that feeling. And I talk to my wife about this all the time. It was one of the big, major issues we talked about when we were like, getting together, is that I feared my own ego. I feel like I had a really shitty father, and I saw growing up that he was just like ruled by ego. Like his every negative aspect about him was that he was like, he had no grasp of his ego, and it consumed him and made every decision for him. And I think seeing that made me afraid of any speck of my ego. And so anytime I felt the pull of my ego that would fuel an action, I would push it down. And it took me a while to realize that, like, as much as being selfless and empathetic is important, it is also important to advocate for yourself, to push your voice out ahead of the crowd, to take control of a situation before it gets out of hand. So I'm still struggling with that, but I really, like, the other day, I realized I like walked into a room and I was like, maybe if I don't act like a little bitch, maybe this will turn out well. And it turned out well. So I was like, let me just do that then.
I feel like, so just taking in what you're saying and throwing a little bit of my perspective, because I absolutely get what you're saying. And I feel like we can agree on this statement of, we learned what to do by what not to do.
Yeah.
But what that also did was villainize important parts of life for yourself.
Yeah, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. And to speak about the baby in the bathwater, taking care of like that inner baby of yours. Because sometimes now when you have those moments of mini epiphany, it's almost like you're going back and talking to your younger you.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, no, you can have a voice.
Yeah.
It is perfectly okay. And you don't have to sound like this person just because you came from them.
Yeah.
You're your own person.
Yeah. It's real.
It is. I just feel like, so one thing that always throws me whenever I'm looking for copywriters is when I look at the education background, I feel like all of my education is in arts and communication. So I'm like, this makes sense. And then your background gets me because you studied psychology. And I feel like that's a beautiful thing because you studied how to make that individual insight. So how did you go from psychology into copywriting?
Accident.
We love accidents.
Yeah,
Tell me more.
Because I went into psychology because I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. But because actually it's really funny is that I tried to major in philosophy first. And then the classes were all fill up. So I was like, oh, let's go to psychology. And it took me a while to realize, but my main goal was because I took psychology because I wanted to understand my father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every person I met liked me. And I didn't understand why they liked me. But my dad fucking hated me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand why he hated me. Okay. So it's like, and on top of that is like, me and him had never like had like not one productive conversation in my entire life. So I never even had like crumbs to build on and be like, oh, maybe he hates me because of this. Like I was like, every time we talk, it devolved into some sort of weird bullshit that I felt growing up as a child that like I really understood the world really well. And so it really bothered me that I didn't understand this man and he brought me to the world. And like, I truly like, because it was one thing that he hated me, but I was like, I just like to know why, like what is fueling all this. So I went to psychology. Because you're 18 and you don't know what the fuck you want to do. And I didn't know anything about advertising. I knew that I liked commercials, but I didn't know why I liked commercials. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to be a writer. But every time I told my mom that, she was like, that doesn't make any money. That doesn't even make sense to me. So like, you're not going to do that. And me and my mother had a very like antagonistic relationship, right, in a way where she was like, I was flying too close to the sun and she'd always trying to pull me down, mm-hmm, and being like, I'm scared. I don't know where you're going. And all I want is for you to be safe. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just trying to, so like, we were just like constantly at odds, but in the way where we were self-correcting each other. Right. And I was too young to realize at the time, but we were always self-correcting each other. So she like squashing down being a writer. So I'm going to psychology and I'm really, really loving understanding like, oh, this is why we all do these things. Like there's a lot of answers to these questions. Like there's all these answers. But then I wasn't interested in like going to residency. I wasn't interested in like counseling. I was already overwhelmed by the fact that like I was my friend group's like therapist. Like okay, that already overwhelmed me. I was like, I don't want to just like be dealing with other people's problems all my life. So I got a minor in business when I was going to go into marketing. And then like, I shit you not, just, at my school we had internship programs. So I did like 3 internships throughout my entire year and all my internships were in marketing. And I shit you not, it was legit just being like, I don't want to wear khakis and look at Excel spreadsheets all day. Like, I was influenced by the movie Office Space. And I was like, I don't want to live my life in a beige cubicle. I was like really afraid. And I moved back to New York and I was living in my mom's basement. And then she was like, you need to go to business school, like, or graduate school. Like, you got to do something. You can't just be fucking, in retrospect, it's hilarious, but you can't just be 21 and not doing anything. like, I was like, all right, fine. And so I was looking for marketing schools. and an ad from my ad school came up about being a copywriter, and like the write up they had for it felt like me. It was the most resonating thing I'd seen in a very long time. So I signed up, got into the school, did the school, passed, got a job, been in it since.
I love the idea that it's the fear that pushed you. Like you know yourself well enough to know that that typical 9 to 5, that was not where you would be able to make the most impact.
Well, I mean, it wasn't impact at the time. It was an impact because I didn't believe in my ability to affect anything. It was more of just like I know. Okay, this is a very like true aspect of me. I know what true despair is.
Okay.
I've really felt it before, and I feel like it has always been a guiding anti-light for me, where it's like I have no wish to ever revisit that. So if I feel a touch of that, I will avoid that with all costs. And I felt doing like one of those like soulless 9 to 5s that I didn't believe in, it would lead me to despair. And I was like, well, I'll just avoid that altogether.
Man, I get that on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
Trying to get away from that despair is exactly how we met.
Yeah.
It almost makes me feel, it makes me think of in The Great Gatsby, the green light across the pond.
Elaborate.
Well, because when I read that book, well, the first time I was forced to read it was in school because that's one of the basic
Summer readings,
lights,
yeah.
Right. Reading lights, reading lists. And I hated it. I hated seeing old sport, everything, especially because so many people loved it. I'm like, this is boring. I love reading, but this is so boring. And we had to write an essay on that green light across the pond and what does it mean. And the first thing I wrote on my page was, if it's on, that means Nick Carraway has to go home. Because my idea of a light like that meant that I had to get my ass home because the street light came on.
Yeah.
To me, that green light was a street light. I reread it halfway through my undergrad, enjoyed it far more, and then thought back to that very first sentence I wrote of, it's time to go home. And every time I've reread The Great Gatsby now 3 times. Same copy. So many notes in that book. So many of them toward the green light. And it's always the same phrase of, you need to find your way home. Whether for Nick it was Gatsby, or for Gatsby it was Daisy, or for those who read it's something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure where my home is at yet. But to think that that light is leading me to people like yourself and a couple other people I've connected with on LinkedIn who are kind of making me finally find or start that journey of finding a place that feels like home. Because to me, when I feel at home is when I can make the most impact.
You know what that reminds me of? Which book is it? Which Vonnegut book has Ice 9 in it?
Google.
But I remember in college when I was like, fuck Christianity, I'm not a Christian anymore. It's like, I'm not now, but like then I was like, yeah, I'm angsty. I put on my Facebook profile that I was a practitioner of Bacanism, which was like a religion in one of Vonnegut's books, and very cringe now, but I still believe in like the general aspects and themes of Bacanism, because it was all about like, I forgot the terminology, but it was like womp eaters or whatever. But the whole concept was that like there are people in your life that like everyone is on like a journey, like moving this way, and there are people in your life that like have a circle, and you meet somebody in that circle that you resonate with, and then because you fuck with them, they probably fuck with people that you fuck with too,
Right.
And so you kind of like go into the circle, and all we're in life, which is like going into orbits of other people's like little self, like we're liking the same things, we're having the same vibe, and you kind of move on. I've always believed in that general aspect of just like life and meeting people and meeting new things and allowing new ideas and concepts to help you grow in life and shit like that.
Well, I love that. And like, I'll do a quick full circle before I head to another question for you. Is a large reason why I started this podcast is because of the basic human insight of, I'm not the only one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I especially had that during COVID, like many others, because I've always, the same as you, I see myself as more sided to be an extrovert, but I'm definitely an ambivert. I need time to recharge. When COVID came, all of my social skills went out the window.
Yeah.
I specifically remember when a patient came into my office for the first time in months, I got up to say hello. I said nothing. I said hello in my head, and then I sat back down. And
That's
I realized,
real as fuck, yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
I don't know how to socialize anymore.
It's
I don't know how to
literally-
communicate.
It's literally a muscle.
And it is. And
Yeah.
it's as much like you said, a muscle. It's active practice.
Yeah.
And a large part of this podcast that I'm working on is the active practice of listening and conversating and going back and forth and understanding parts of people that I feel like we only discovered because COVID forced us the time to discover that.
Yeah, to step out of our routine of doing the same thing every day. And yeah.
And then also realizing too, like I look back on it and I'm probably overthinking as I normally do, but why did I not say hello to this patient? Because it was a type of small talk that I didn't enjoy pre-COVID. I certainly don't enjoy it post-COVID. And what I love to do when my patients come in is, first of all, solve their problems. But second of all, actually learn who these people are. And I look at this podcast as that form as well. And since it's going to be shared with people, now we all get to learn. And hopefully gain something back that we lost. Because it feels like we've almost gone back or trying to get back into the normal way things were. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go back to what didn't work.
I don't even know what that was anymore. That's the thing. Like, it's always funny when people's nostalgia is a hell of a fucking drug. You know, people want, sometimes people fight to go back to something. And it's like, you're not trying to go back to that thing. You're trying to go back to that feeling you're at. And what's to say the future can't produce that same feeling if you fucking try? But it's hard because it's hard to try because failure sucks. But I don't know, when you fucking succeed, that feels even better. So I don't know.
Hey, wonderful people. It's me again. Thank you so much for listening to episode 1 of the podcast Talk to Me, the art of listening in New York City. After such a wonderful conversation, here are a couple things that still resonate with me. Life is not linear, so stay open to opportunity. You do not have to be defined by what you see or experience as a child, but just know that it will probably be a guiding point in your life. Always try to find a balance between needs and wants. This is something we should all strive to do. And Claire has a beautiful eye. Many things and more that we learned from Nnamdi today. And all I can say at the end of it is how appreciative I am of him to come onto the show and speak about himself, his loved ones, and the journey it took him to get to this point now. I'm really excited to see where he'll continue to go. To all of you listening, thank you so much. Until next episode, stay safe. You are appreciated.